up, Slay Nation? Justin Queer here, Kayak Series Director, here with Josh Fusen, the other Kayak Series Director for the Upstate New York Kayak Series. Ready for live event number 4 of the 2024 season. What's going on tonight, Josh?
What's going on, everyone? Not too much.
I'm just going to make sure we got the captain's meeting shared real quick in the page, in the group.
Yeah, it's going in the group.
All right, cool. All right. Is it in there twice? Did I accidentally post it twice?
I'm not sure.
Right,
it's up at least. What's
man.
up, Chris?
All right, everybody. This is the captain's meeting for Tupper Lake, live event number 4. We'll go over some quick rule changes. There is quite a few changes, just mostly on times and things like that. We adjusted originally for the hot weather that we were supposed to get when it was 90 all week. That went away, and now it went the other direction. And now the wind is not going to be bad, but the rain is going to be there at some point. Could be
It's
all
supposed
day.
to rain pretty much all day.
Yeah,
Thankfully, the thunderstorms aren't supposed to start till 3.
Yeah, so we kind of lucked out still getting off the water when we did. We're going to tomorrow, so it is what it is. Worked out. I think I saw like Hudson Valley, my buddies down there, Rich Biggie, and all those boys did the same thing. Moved their time back up to like 4:45 because of the same reasons. If it's gonna be daylight out, in my opinion, I'd rather just let me start fishing, man, and be off the water before it gets too dangerous out there. It gets nasty. So we'll talk about that in a second. But I'm pretty excited about Tupper Lake. I know this isn't my favorite lake. My favorite lake is always going to be Cranberry Lake. That's my home lake. I love that place. But if you had to put together a list of New York lakes, in my top 5, Tupper Lake's going to be there for sure. I love
Tupper's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh, I know it's your definite favorite. And I know I've got 2 top 3s here. You got 2 top 3s?
I took second at the championship 2 years ago on Tupper.
There you go. So between us, I think we got like 3 seconds. It's a fun lake, man. And as well as me, it's one of those places you can go in there. There's not like crazy big fish. It's one of those lakes you're not going to go in there and catch 22-inch fish. It ain't going to happen. If you do, you found some legendary fish that's been alive for a long time. But I'm not saying they're not in there, but it's unlikely to ever catch them. You're more likely to find those groups of 17, 18s, and 19s. There's a ton of 19-inch fish. It feels like in this lake for whatever reason, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the biggest I've pulled out of there is 20 and a half.
Yeah, I pulled 20 and 3/4 out of there, and that was like 3 years ago. But most big fish are like 20 and a quarter at best.
But I mean, even the 18, 19s are fat. I mean, they remind me of Cayuga bass. I mean, I was out pre-fishing and I hooked into a 18-inch smallie that literally spun the Titan around in a 360.
Yep. Yeah, and even both. That's the cool thing too, is anywhere you fish on this tournament, largemouth, smallmouth hang out in the same spots. It's kind of crazy how it works. And even
I had a mixed bag.
That 18 at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, I caught my 19 and a quarter that was over 4 pounds, and then you caught a 3.7, 3.8, like not even 5 minutes later, right in the same area.
Yep.
Another 19. And you saw my kayak, like I didn't need my 360 drag, did I?
No.
I was just getting looped by that largemouth. Like they were talking about it in the chat today on the group, and these fish are they're a little extra wild there in Tupper Lake for whatever reason. They don't get the pressure. They don't see a lot of bait. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to fish this one again. And all the guys that haven't fished it yet or been in a tournament and come up here, it's definitely going to be a good time. Hopefully the rain doesn't hurt that too much. But I fished it in downpour before and still caught fish. So they're there. They're going to eat. They're already wet, man, right? So. All right, let's go over the times. You want to cover the times of the tournament?
Yeah, so we pushed start time back to 5 o'clock on this one. So 5 o'clock is going to be your first launch. Because there is so many launches all over Tupper Lake, most people can get to their spots pretty quick. And because, as Justin was saying, originally they were calling for really hot weather, so we were trying to beat the heat. So we made first cast at 5:15. So you got 15 minutes from first launch to get to your spot, first cast. Last cast is going to be at 1:30. final submission will be at 2:30, which is also the same time roundabout that we're going to be starting awards, and that is going to be at Battlefish Charters shop out there in Tupper Lake.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. If you're running a couple minutes late, we're not gonna beat you up about it. We're gonna try to get started right. Yeah, I think we said 2:30, but 2:45, right? Is really
I mean, by the time we're making sure all the fish are good, it is going to take a little bit longer judging fish. We've got Jim from Long Island helping us out, but most of them's going to be me and Justin. We're anticipating quite a few fish caught here. I mean, Tupper's a pretty good area, so we might have to finish up some judging before we can start awards. So I'd say sometime like 2:45, 3 o'clock is when we're actually going to be able to start the awards.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to. I can't promise this yet because I'm about to call as soon as we got the live. I'm going to call and order some pizzas and get 2-3 pizzas ordered. We'll have those sent over across the street to AJ's shop, and we'll have some food ready for us anyway. I'm not promising that, but I might be able to get you guys some food. So.
If you're watching, AJ, you better be there this time because we stopped to see you last week and nobody was at the shop.
I could have taken that kayak, but he probably would have kicked my ass. So. But yeah, I talked to AJ today, so he's pretty excited about having us down. He's even got some of the younger kids that are in school still on summer break, and we're getting ready to start summer break. They work in the shop, some summer help, and they're going to do the tournament. So pretty excited. I think probably a third of the field is pretty new to it. Yeah, it's so just we're gonna cover. Let's cover a couple things with. Can you go over fish? Being on the board, what boards we use. You can talk about the leaderboard real quick if you want. Some of those like the obvious things that people might not know about what they got to do tomorrow.
So with us having a few newer people, originally we were catch only. Now catch board and the new Yak Attack leaderboard we will allow. When it comes to measuring your fish, mouth has to be fully closed, has to be touching the edge of the bump board. We need to be able to see the whole fish in the picture, and I always try to have at least a couple inches past the fish's tail in the picture so you can clearly see where the lines are. Your identifier has to be in the picture. If it's not, fish is instantly DQ'd. Hand placement, you can't be covering the eye, and you can't have your hand inside of the gill plate. Some clubs have been a no on tail pinching. As long as your hand's not on the actual fin, the tail itself, like you can be a little bit above it, but don't cover the tail so we can see the markings. We're okay with that.
Don't put your identifier on the fish or cover the fish up with the identifier.
So you can put your identifier on your hand, but don't write it on a piece of paper and put that on the fish. However, if you are going to put it on your hand, make sure you are wary of your actual photo, because I know last tournament, it wasn't even our tournament. We were helping judge another tournament. I had to DQ multiple fish because the guy had it on his hand and his shirt sleeve was covering part of the identifier. If we can't see the whole identifier, it's an automatic disqualification. Same thing when it comes. I don't think with the rain we're going to have to worry about it, but when it comes to sun glare, same thing. You have to make sure the identifier can be seen, so try to get to either a shady spot, or what I do myself when I'm in a tournament, I have my identifier written in multiple places on the actual tin tag itself, so that if the sun's hitting one angle, I can still get it from a different angle.
Yep. I think you covered pretty much everything on the rules. 5 fish limit, 10-inch minimum.
Is it 10 or is it 8?
8. I don't know, whatever we put on the Tourney X.
I think it's 8.
Is it? Whatever it is. It's on Tourney X, but boundaries are on Tourney X. There's a link on Tourney X. You can click on that. There's a clear map that goes around. I'm trying to think if I can remember all of the spots, but like Racket River is in play. Okay, it is 10-inch minimum, gosh.
Yeah, I just looked that up myself.
So, Racket River's in play, Racket Pond's in play, Simon Pond's in play, all of Maine Tupper's in play, Piercefield's in play. I think I have it all covered, right? If you drive through Tupper Lake, there's like if you're driving through it to go away from, like on the right side, you'll see it's a big body of water. I think it's 11,000 acres when I looked it up, and that's, I don't even know if that's counting all of the reservoirs like that are with it. But yeah, the views are awesome, man. The fish are big, so I think it's gonna be a good tournament. It's not one of those tournaments where you're gonna need 98 to 100 to win. I mean, that would clearly win it, and it's possible. But let's hear your prediction. I let me go first because I think you're gonna steal my prediction. No, I'll give you go first. I know what you're gonna say. Big bass and total limit.
I think Big Bass is going to be 19.75, and total limit it's going to take 91 and a half.
Wait, never play Wheel of Fortune or any of these fucking games with Josh because I don't think, I think for some reason it's gonna be one of those tournaments where somebody doesn't hit a 20 like you said, and I think it's gonna be like a 19. I think like we might have multiple people with a 19 and 3/4. I think it's pretty likely. Yeah, but if you get a 20, you very likely might win Big Bass at this lake. So
If you catch anything above a 19, make sure you're taking a selfie with it for the Heat Your Meat. So far, we've gotten pretty good with the pictures on them. So let's just make sure we keep that rolling for our sponsor there, our main sponsor, and get those pictures to Frankie.
Yeah, I think it's going to take like 93 to win. But with the rain coming, might drop it a little bit. I don't know. Those fish are still in there. There's more quantity over the length, right? Like there's a lot of fish in there, but there's a lot of like what 15 to 17s are like everywhere like, in that lake.
I know when we, granted it was September, but when we fished it for the championship 2 years ago, me and Nielsen tied for second and third with, I think it was 86 and a half, and first place was 87 inch. He beat us by a half.
Most years that this tournament has been done, the numbers are actually quite similar, even if it's different times of the year. It's like both times I've taken second, it was like 86 to get second, 88 to win. But I know I fished it with Nunziato a couple years ago, and he wasn't in the tournament. He easily had 94, 95 inches that day if he was in the tournament. So the potential is there to have a big day, but you're going to have to definitely capitalize on these fish. The fish are kind of dickheads here. They're not used to being handled, I don't think, so much like the Cayuga fish, so they do not like being on a board here. Largemouths are jumping out of the water, like somebody said on the, or maybe Al Morgan said today, like they're jumping out of the water like they're smallmouth. Just the way these fish are a little angrier here, but makes it a little bit more fun to catch them too. So, all right, man. I think that's everything. PFD is mandatory. We'll go over identifier here in a second. Anything else you want to cover safety wise or anything?
I was just about to say the same thing with the PFDs. With the rain, if it stops raining and you want to take your raincoat off, stop what you're doing, take your line out of the water, go ahead, take your life jacket off to take your raincoat off, but then your PFD has to go right back on before you resume fishing. Other big thing, especially with us launching early, make sure you have your nav lights, your 360 lights, some type of visibility so that boaters can see you. It is a weekend, especially if you're fishing Maine Tupper. I know, I don't know about the schools up there. I know I've seen a lot of schools are out for the summer now already. My kids have 2 more days, but there's going to be traffic out that way. Maybe not as much because of the rain, but make sure you're visible. If you have a motor, make sure you have your navigation lights for your motor. That is a required state law.
Yeah.
And then there was something else with the motor you want to talk about?
Yeah, the self-signed or self-issued certificate. Let me bring it up on the screen quick if I can. So I know Josh messaged me about it today, the other Josh, but let's see if I can bring it up quick. So right here, is it coming up, Josh?
Yep.
Okay. Let me try.
Can you zoom in any on it or no?
Yeah.
There you go.
So this came out a couple years ago. It's a DUC law, and I read just before this on the other page. It's only for people with a motor. Is said. I don't know why they say that. But then it says non-motorized watercraft too, so you can check that box. So I don't. But if you go to where this is actually at on DC site. It says it's still only required for people with a motor. But if you're going to fish in the Adirondacks, you got to have this filled out, and it's basically like it's for invasive species, part of that whole law with the DEC saying that you're not bringing invasive species, weeds or whatever out to this lake. So
making sure everything's cleaned.
Yeah, make sure your kayak's cleaned off. So good chance they might hang you up on that. It's I don't know if it's all over the state, but I know even when I fished the other day, when I got off the water, there was like a person, like a DEC worker waiting there for me to check me.
Yeah, if you're launching at a state launch up this way, there's usually this time of year somebody from DEC sitting there to inspect your boat, make sure that you don't have anything on it, and sometimes depending on the location, some of them even have a portable wash station, and they'll wash your kayak for you.
Yep. And sometimes they will check for the certificate. So if you got a motor, I think you got to have this, or I'm pretty sure you do. I know for me, I just fill it out. I have like 10 copies in my truck all the time, and I just fill one out when I have one a day. Yeah, I got you, Dad. But I think you probably take it like on your phone, download a copy on your phone, fill it in on your phone somehow if you had to. I don't know, but yeah, just be wary of this. If you see the DC out there, with the weather being a little bit rough tomorrow with the rain, I doubt you'll see that. Oh shit, that's cool. I didn't know that. So that's good that they're. I don't think they're going to be total dicks about it. Like if you don't have it, it's a brand new thing still to a lot of people. But if you're able to get the certificate, I mean, I would try to get it. So, and if not, you're going to need. You might get when you get off the water, have one. Yeah, this is a no joke. I was on the water Wednesday when it was like 90. These bugs on this fucking lake are terrorists, man. Like it's bad out there right now, and it's not like mosquitoes. It's like horse flies, or what are they, deer flies, Josh?
Most of them were just house flies, like black flies.
Well, they're fucking biting flies, whatever ones that is. But yeah, I got tore up on Wednesday by these things too, and I had bug spray on. So
we got to bring some bird spray too.
Yeah, that too. Oh man, great story this year before we go. Me and Josh were pre-fishing with my dad the other day, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I wish I had my GoPro, but Josh gets attacked by a little ass black bird trying to kick his fucking ass, and I thought it just like hit him and then ran, and no, he stayed right in the kayak trying to fuck him up. So I'm laughing my ass off at Josh, of course, and then that asshole comes after me, so I had to take swing at him, and then he ran, he flew off and left. He comes back like 10 minutes later and dive bombs Josh's kayak again, trying to take him out to the tournament for us. Josh ends up waxing him with something in his kayak, a paddle or something. And I walked in there, and the bird's wings broken in the back of Josh's kayak. I mean, it was self-defense, and he really was getting fucked up by this bird. And this thing was like this big. And then because he was like almost dead, I threw him in the water, and some bass going to get him, I think. So, but yeah, it was a good time seeing Josh get beat up by a little ass bird. So. Have a good time out there, guys. Fishing's going to be good. Just be safe with the rain and all that good stuff. So have a good time. Upload your fish. Service is spotty here and there. So be sure you got enough time to get off the water, upload your fish before last submission. And anything else you want to cover before we go?
Identifier.
That's probably something important. Identifier is easy on this one. It's going to be BF for Battlefish. They are one of our main, they're actually our first sponsor we've ever had in this club. Like 4 years ago was Battlefish. They've been with the club ever since. They're still doing our Angler of the Year prize, and they're helping us out, letting us do the awards there. So I really appreciate Battlefish, Charters, Chimera, Doc's Tackle, A-Bay Lure Lab, everybody at Rams Off the Hook Bait Shop that helped us put on these events, get these awards. I got some awesome awards sitting here for you guys tomorrow.
Empire Pizza,
man. You guys, everybody stepped up this year and helped us put on a really good series. So shout out to all those sponsors for helping us out. So this one, our identifier is going to be named after AJ's business there, Battlefish Charters. So BF for Battlefish. It's got to have that on your identifier. Anything else you want to cover?
I think that does it for me.
Yeah, I still got to rig up all those rods behind me. So
It looks like everyone's leaving the graduation party. I missed most of it, but
all right, man. Well, I'll let you go do what you got to do, and I got to go do some shit too.
all right, see you guys out there tomorrow.
All right, man. Catch you guys out there tomorrow. Be safe and tight lines.
Tight lines, everyone.